To start off, this idea of Christmas, doesn't take it's not much of a history lesson to know that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. But this idea of what Christmas represents, the fact that this man who is somehow God came into the world in the most unlikely way during a time where the world was under a great deal of strain, and there was our Savior came in a way that no one ever expected, and that did radically, obviously, change the world. It's still changing our world to this day, and so I think that by saying that Christmas can still change the world, we are basically harking back to our roots as Christ followers, to a time of celebration where God took a huge risk on us and came down and really not only just changed history, but changed soul by soul, person by person, relationship by relationship. And so when we say, Christmas can still change the world, all we're really doing is saying, God's love, Christ's love for us never changes. And so what if we honored that and propelled that thought, that belief into our season? On a minimal level, I'll tell you that already it's changed a lot of things. It's changed relationships with one another. When I'm able to tell my dad, hey, like this year, instead of buying him a gift, that my dad always tells me, he's like, there's nothing I really want. Right. He's like, so, but I always feel like, oh, I want to give you something because I love you. Well, instead of just feeling that pressure, I've decided to instead make him a video of this fly fishing trip we took in Alaska about 4 years ago. I've had the footage on my hard drive for 4 years now, haven't done anything with it. I finally took the time, spent about a good 20 hours, and I put together this little video. That's going to change our relationship. In fact, that's going to enhance our relationship, and it's more valuable to him than anything I could have bought him at the store. Right. So on a minimal level, it's changing relationships on how we view one another, of saying, I'm not just going to give you something out of obligation. I'm going to give you something because I love you, and this is a reflection of our relationship. On a sort of a maximal level, when we encourage people to spend less, and we're not saying don't buy any gifts. Gifts are a good thing, and we're not going to go all Scrooge on anyone. But to really consider how you spend your money and give out of a way that's more relational. Yeah. And then you take some of that money and you give it to those who are in need. Well, the maximal level is just reality. Lives have been and are continuing to be changed because a group of people, of Christ followers, are saying, you know what? This money here would be much better used if I gave it to a clean well project in Liberia or in Varanasi, India, or in Sierra Leone. And I can tell you, for example, the first year that we did this and we raised, I don't know, maybe $500,000, a bulk of that money went to this area in Liberia called Benny Hill Town. And it's just this area of, which is a great name, by the way, but it went to this area, this region, where several villages were lined up along this river, and they were drinking the water from this river. It was incredibly polluted. So I remember going to their little clinic and looking at the numbers, the statistics of how many people were coming in with waterborne illnesses. And, it was staggering to see how many people were sick and dying. I saw firsthand how many kids were suffering from just, different diseases that related to the lack of clean water and sanitation. A year later, I go back to that same area and I talked to the same doctor in the same clinic, and I asked him, how many waterborne illnesses are you treating on an average week? And he said 0. He said no one has those problems anymore because of Advent Conspiracy. We were able to drill, I think, 20 or 30 plus wells along this river, and now people don't struggle with that anymore. So the maximal change is just reality. We are able, through this, we are able to change communities and give them a chance at a different way of life. And that's what I love about AC the most.